Hello, my soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is the Dr. Ron Smith Investigate Show, where we separate the real from fake, the fact from fiction, and give you the winner's edge. And sometimes we return your water into wine. This is season 2 and episode 13. We're calling this Get Your Money Right. And I'm probably going to be talking about this for the next couple of weeks. This is the last week in April. We know that April was the financial Get Your Money Right. Well, I'm calling that, but it actually was Financial Literacy Month. But one of the things as I've been doing my research, the thing about it is that we are living in a capitalistic democracy. And it's, only recently that I really got the understanding of what that really means. And even though, we studied world history, we studied, geography, and no one really shared with us how this country, what the real impetus, what this country was really built on. And I understand that basically it was the free trade capitalist system, and basically, even though the Native Americans was here, you had people from Europe, especially Great Britain, all these explorers coming in here, exploiting the resources that we had in this land from the Native Americans, and they left Europe to build a different type of government, which was almost like the free enterprise system. And you have all these people who set up this whole program. And the reason, to me, and this is just my personal opinion, the slave trade was really not about a racism type situation. It was more about building wealth. And the fastest way that you can build wealth is actually free labor. And basically, long story short, they found out that people from Africa could deal with this heat that we have here, especially in the Commonwealth of Virginia. But my real point is that basically it was this country, the democracy was disguised as a capitalistic society. Everything moved because of the capital and business. And once you really understand that basically you are a particular business within yourself. If you stop looking at yourself as just going for day to day and working for a job to job per se, and look at yourself as, for me, Smith Incorporated. Because basically, if you look at it, everything that would make my household run is the same thing would make a business run. And what I mean by that is I have to do management, I have to do my finance, I have to do my marketing, and I have to do my personnel. So personnel is me. Basically, all the skills and education that I have, I put it on a resume. And basically, if I'm trying to get employed, I put in that application. Finance is basically my income, and my cash flow. Marketing is, like I said before, all my education requirements, school, training, etc. I'm marketing myself. I have to maintain my own finance. I have to make sure that I am the, one of one. So that's a personnel. And I am trading my time for, residuals. What I need to do is make sure that the time that I'm serving will serve me long before after I put in those hours of work. So once I understand that concept, and once I can share that concept with you, you will view yourself differently and understand that basically you have something to bring into the marketplace. This whole podcast was built around the conversations I wish I had. One of the advantages of being around people who are in business and professionals, that whole environment will create you in the atmosphere that you understand how this whole capitalistic democracy works. And that's what I really want to share with you in the introduction, is that we have to look at ourselves totally different in order to be able to maximize what we're doing here and creating a value for ourselves. The first acronym that I want to use is SMART, and I used this many times before. Being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. When you actually have a written financial plan, it's something that is, I would say, magical about actually, instead of just getting on your phone or your computer, use a pen and paper when you write out your budget. You actually, it's almost like you're in tune to what you are actually doing, and it's not mechanical. And next thing is actually understanding what your cash flow in, cash flow out. That is the lifeblood of your finances right there. And then basically your written plan should have something of your investment, which means that basically you are creating a mechanism while you're asleep, that basically you are getting residual income or passive income. Those are the things that basically is going to fuel you to actually continue what you're doing. I feel that most people get frustrated, especially with this, shrinkflation, the way the economy is going, and the interest rate, et cetera, is because you don't see yourself moving forward. The only way that you're going to see yourself moving forward is basically that you're participating in Me Incorporated and how that you fit into the big picture of that. Next thing is, I'm going to talk about investing, and it could be investing in other companies, investing in stocks, investing in bonds, et cetera, et cetera. But the major investment you should be making in investing in yourself and your financial literacy. Two of the books that I just written down right offhand, I probably have over 50 books about finance that I've been reading over the last 10 years. Think and Grow Rich was one of the classics. And what I really like is a book by Dennis Kimbro. It said Think and Grow Rich, a Black Choice, that really resonated with me even before the Think and Grow Rich. And the next book, and I'm gonna call it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Those two books actually should be in your collection. And if you don't have it, get them. As we go forward, I will be recommending some other books that for your financial literacy repertoire. So basically, you can start building your foundation. And those are the things that you should invest in yourself, because when you can see yourself moving forward, you'll be excited about your future. And basically, you'll start making those money moves that works for you and not work against you. One of the things to get your money right, if you don't have a plan, there's some very negative things going to happen to you. If you think you're working paycheck to paycheck now and you don't have a plan, you're going to, whether you've been on the job, 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, eventually you're going to have to retire. Eventually, if you're doing a labor job, you're going to have technology is going to take over that. One of the things I'm laughing when I say that because I just read this just this past week that I think Target is removing some of their self-checking outlines, and I'm quite sure eventually Walmart will follow suit also. It's amazing when we think that we're going to be in the 21st century, and now we're taking a step back to the 20th century. But I'm quite sure they're going to work that out too, because you got to realize that the machines don't require a matching 401k plan, and they definitely not going to match a pension plan. You got to realize that machines don't have to take maternity leave or sick leave. So by them investing in technology, those are some of the positions that's going to be eliminated here in a few, probably within the next decade. But you must think about the time that you're not going to be working your 9 to 5 or et cetera, et cetera. So you have to plan for your retirement. It will come. It will be a day that basically you're going to see just like everybody else. They're going to have this luncheon. They're going to have the people give you a box, put all your stuff in at your desk. And after the luncheon, they're going to escort you out. And basically, they're going to change the combination on the door, or basically your key card is not going to work anymore. That day is coming. So let's plan for that. The next thing I want to talk about is that people who don't have no will or trust. I'm going to do a show, and maybe the next week, about the heartbreak and the anguish and the infighting that people who die, which mean intestate, without a will, and the people who quote quote are the beneficiary as what's left. And it's amazing how sibling rivalry it knocks up to on a scale from 1 to 10, it notches up to like a 50 on steroids over splitting up the assets. It's a really horror show. So make sure at minimum you have a will. I recommend that you basically, if you have a home, make sure you put that home in a trust. It's worth the extra time and money. And basically, I think I did show on trust, the benefits of the trust. But I'll share that with you right quick. It's basically a will, you have to go to probate, which means basically you have to go before a judge, and basically he assign a executor, or an executor meet with the trustees of that trust, and all the debts are satisfied. And then basically all the bills, et cetera, funeral expense, all that kind of stuff. If it's not any, insurance is mostly take care of that. So those are the things that you need to look out for. But a trust is not public record. And the benefit is that basically your beneficiaries do not have to pay the capital gain tax on that. It goes straight to your beneficiary. And if you had a medical power of attorney or a power of attorney for your bank accounts, that money goes directly to the beneficiary of that, or to your trustees that you're assigned to that. And it doesn't hang up in probate court. And what if a will takes at least 3 to 4 to 6 weeks, and might take years to, especially if it's contested, to be reconciled. The next thing I want to talk about is long-term care. As you're going to retire, you're also going to age. And what you want to do is that basically when you are no longer be able to, let's say if you've got a two-story house, and basically, let's say you're in your late 70s, 80s, 90s, you can't navigate it like where you did it before. So basically, what you're going to need to do is maybe get into a assisted living facility, or even a senior facility. And sometimes I've heard some of the wild stories what happened in the seniors party just as much as the young people. But that's another story for another time. But you need to set aside your part of your income to address that, and or even purchase some insurance for that long-term care. So basically, in order to get your money right, you have to start thinking in that direction. Planning, as I say all the time, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So having a written financial plan is part of getting your money right. So we're going to take a break right now, And we return, we're going to continue with getting your money right. Hey, my soul brothers and soul sisters, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe my show. And it's at SKST Radio Productions. And welcome back. We're talking about getting your money right. And like I said before at the top of the show, we're probably going to be talking about this for a couple of weeks now. And I got some special guests in mind coming up, and we're going to have some fun with that. Because, as I said before, nobody really explained to me that we live in a democratic, capitalistic society. And what I mean by that, basically, it's almost like one of my favorite rap songs was Cream. Cash rules everything around me. Dollar bills, y'all. I know y'all remember that song, but it's really true. Everything that we live, move, and breathe costs money, and the emphasis should be understanding what financial literacy is to each individual. One of the things that when I get on my soapbox. I'm an active member of my church, and one of the things, the lifeblood of the church, is actually giving tithes. But one of the things I always propose to, when I get around my fellow theologians, I say, you always ask your people to give 10%. My premise is but we should be educating people what they should do with the 90% that's left over. The part that basically, to me, where the money, the rubber meets the road, because if I can get my 90% right, there would be no emphasis. There won't be no problem for me to give my 10%. So we should have financial education. And I only mention that for the simple fact, there is no other environment that we're going to get this education in. They're not actually, they're trying to say that we're going to start having financial, fundamental financial education in schools, but you would think, since we are living in this society, it would be one of the after reading and writing, it should be actually financial literacy, because that's the world that we live in. We can't get around it. Whether it doesn't matter what class you're in, rich, poor, middle class, you will actually have to spend money. And you have to understand what is taxes. You have to understand what is debt. And those things has to be done fundamentally, and we should be able to grow into that. So we have to create that financial literacy environment, which leads me to what do that mean to basically individual? I always talk about the 5 fundamental basic things that everybody should do. And in order to actually have a asset or in a liability, you have to understand how do you earn or you create your cash flow. One of the things that it was a big impetus of everybody need to go to college. And for the last 30 or 40 years, that within itself is a multi-billion dollar industry, which means that basically before you even finish your education, you're in debt. So my question is that this is a rhetorical one, because I already know the answer. Who benefited from you being in debt? Who benefit from a college educated person with 4 years with no job, with a, let's say, $50,000 debt, $100,000 debt, $500,000 debt? Who benefit from that? Then you understand why the education system is what it is. If you're hearing from me, I'd like you to, send me a text. I might tell you who that is. So basically, whether you get a Bachelor of Arts and it's graduation season coming up just before Mother's Day, or Bachelor of Science, or a junior college degree or a trade school degree, you have to be able to earn and create money to hopefully that education and your career choice, you would get a return on your investment. And I've talked about that in last season also. So once you do make that choice, and basically you decide that basically you want to be a dentist, which I think it would be a great career choice, and it's worth the investment that you are entering into, because the return on investment for that career will be beneficial to you. So now we have to understand, number two, how you manage that. Basically, you walking in with a certain amount of debt. Now, basically, you in a profession, basically you can, pay off that debt and actually live very well. But you also have to make sure that you're budgeting, which means basically you have to, start with your income and understand that basically you have a short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. What I mean by that, basically, a certain percentage of your money is going for your, whether you're buying or renting your house. You have to have a vehicle to get around in this economy, and you definitely have to wear, clothes and buy groceries. So you're going to have to make sure that you budget to that extent. The last illustration I gave you on budgeting was 10, 10, 10, 70, which means basically 10% basically you give to your donation or tied to my church, as I do, or you give to your charity. 10% of basically you're saving, and 10% is basically you're reducing your debt, along with the 70% is actually what you actually living in. And that's basically based on your income and your expenses. Along the way, what you want to start doing is building assets, because as I say, if you go to one of these schools or even junior college, you're going to accumulate some debt just for that kind of education. I'm going to talk about assets probably down the road, but one of the things that immediately I recommend that basically you start investing in some real estate. But there's some other assets basically, normally what's being pushed now is the 401k or IRA. And I have my own personal opinion that, but basically 401k is basically, the difference is 401k is tax deferred, and plus your employer matches your up to 4 or 5%. IRA, there is no matching. So, and it's taxed up front. We'll talk about that later. I mentioned the pros and cons of both of them, but those are some of your long-term plans. Number three of the 5 basic fundamentals of should be part of your written financial plan: protection. Right now in the state of Virginia, I think it's in July, you have to have insurance, car insurance. It was a time that you could purchase a policy for $500, and that would be your minimum insurance. But now, from July 1st, you have to have your own car insurance, health insurance. I mentioned long-term insurance. Those are some of the things that basically you have to have for protection, because basically, in case something does happen, you have almost a amount of bubble wrap around you protection. The big thing is number 4, which is leverage. And I call this OPM, which is other people's money. And, I talked about this a whole lot. When you purchase a big ticket item, basically, if you can't pay cash for the house, or you can't pay cash for the car, you have to get a loan. And basically, that loan officer is going to see what your credit history is. And if you have a very poor credit history, which means basically they will charge you more interest rate. Not that you can't get it, it just means it costs you more. And I want to move a little faster. You want to build a legacy. And the best way to build a legacy is purchase life insurance. And I give you this tip that a person who are in insurance, we should purchase, $250,000, $500,000, or $1 million worth of life insurance policy. The 25,000, $50,000, for a few dollars more, you can get that $1 million life insurance policy. What you want to do is, if you will, just like you're going to retire, you will die. So what you want to do is set your family up for being prosper and maintaining the lifestyle that you have left them with the life insurance policy. And one of the things I want to end the show on is that now that you understand your basic fundamentals, you need to start helping your parents and the elderly people that to get their credit situation together. Believe it or not, they need your help more than what you think. And you think that you are walking through a minefield financially. They have less information about this capitalistic democracy than you did. Basically, they were force-fed a whole lot of things, and appears to us as technology has advanced, and a whole lot of things that advanced. And one of the things about this cell phone, this is your advantage that they didn't have. One advantage is that if any questions you have, you can listen to my podcast, of course, but you can also Google it, or you can go on YouTube. It has a very vast, a lot of information pertaining to this. But I do want to share that work with your parents and make sure that they have some of the things that we shared with you today on this podcast, because if they don't have a will, you need to start helping them work on one. Start working on if granddad or big mama got that house and they think everything is cool, but you make sure that basically you might have to pay for that trust to make sure that the beneficiaries actually get those assets that they have worked hard and long for. And they are a target for identity theft. So basically, you can help them in that area also. But you need to be in communication with them, and you need to make sure that basically you can help them walk through this thing also. And help them get a copy of their credit report. This piece of information I just found out this week, all 3 credit unions will give you a weekly free credit report. We're talking about Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And you can also make sure you get your own too. So get your money right and help your parents or some elderly relatives, or even the elderly people that worship with you on Sundays. Help them get their money right. My time is up, and I thank you for yours. See you next time.